Your self-sabotage isn't a character flaw. It's ancient code running perfectly on outdated threats. You're not broken, you're just operating a survival system built for a world that no longer exists. You know the pattern, you're on the edge of something good. A relationship that feels stable, a project that might actually work, a routine that's finally clicking, and then you do it. You pick the fight over nothing. You miss the deadline you circled in red. You ghost the person who actually texts back, who remembers how you take your coffee. And afterward you sit there at 2 a.m. thinking the same thought you've had 1,000 times. What's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? It feels personal. Like there's something fundamentally defective in your wiring. Like everyone else got the manual for being a functional human and you got a water-damaged copy with half the pages missing. But here's what that voice in your head doesn't know. The thing sabotaging you isn't a flaw in your character, it's a feature. A very old one carved into your nervous system across millennia. And it's doing exactly what it was designed to do, just 10,000 years too late. I watched this play out with someone close to me. Brilliant, capable, the kind of person who could talk their way through any problem except their own. Every time things stabilized, they'd find a way to detonate it. New job going well, 3 months in, right when the probation period ended and permanence loomed, suddenly they're arguing with their boss over something trivial, a meeting time, a formatting preference. Relationship deepening. They'd manufacture distance, pick apart flaws that weren't there a week ago, criticize the way their partner laughed or texted. From the outside, it looked like self-destruction. But when we finally sat down and mapped it out on paper, tracking dates and triggers, a pattern emerged. Every single act of sabotage happened at the exact same psychological altitude, the moment before things got undeniably good, not during struggle, not during chaos, during success. That's when the system activated like clockwork, and once you see that timing, you can't unsee it. It's too precise to be random, too consistent to be weakness, too mechanical to be accident. Your amygdala, that almond-sized cluster of neurons responsible for threat detection, doesn't distinguish between physical danger and social risk. To your brain, rejection feels like predation. Uncertainty reads as mortal threat. This isn't poetic language. fMRI scans from Naomi Eisenberger's landmark UCLA study show the same regions light up when you're excluded from a group as when you're in physical pain. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex firing identically whether you've been physically burned or simply left out of a virtual ball tossing game. Your ancestors who treated social exile as life-threatening survived. The ones who shrugged it off didn't pass on their genes. So you inherited a nervous system calibrated for the Pleistocene, one that treats your boss's clipped tone in a Thursday afternoon email like a saber-toothed cat rustling through tall grass at dusk. The system works. It kept your lineage alive for 200,000 years. It's just that the threats it's screening for, starvation, exile, predation, have been replaced by performance reviews and read receipts and whether you said the wrong thing at dinner. This is where it gets mechanical. Your brain runs on prediction models. It takes past data and builds forecasts about what's coming next. When your environment is predictable, even if it's predictably bad, your nervous system relaxes. It knows the pattern. It can allocate resources efficiently, directing glucose and oxygen exactly where they're needed. But when things improve unpredictably, when the pattern breaks in a positive direction, your system flags it, not as good news. As a data anomaly, something that doesn't fit the model, and anomalies in survival terms are dangerous. They mean your map is wrong, that threats may be hiding in the blind spots. So your brain does what it's designed to do. It tries to return you to the familiar baseline, even if that baseline is suffering, because suffering, you understand, is less threatening than success you don't. This is called the familiarity principle, documented in studies on self-sabotage and chronic stress adaptation. It's why lottery winners often return to poverty within years. So here's what actually happens when you sabotage yourself. You're not weak, you're not broken, you're experiencing an evolutionary mismatch. Your threat detection system is doing its job. It's just that the job description hasn't been updated since the Pleistocene era, when saber-toothed predators made caution a survival advantage. When you pick that fight with your partner over nothing, when you procrastinate on the project that could change your career, when you push away the person who's actually good for you, you're not failing. You're executing a survival protocol written in neural pathways 10,000 generations deep. Your amygdala detects unfamiliar territory, a promotion, intimacy, success, and interprets it as danger. It sends a distress signal flooding your system with cortisol. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that knows better, that can plan and reason, gets overridden completely. And you revert to the pattern your nervous system trusts, the familiar discomfort, even though your conscious mind hates it. This entire hijacking happens in milliseconds, faster than thought itself. You don't choose it. You inherit the aftermath and call it a character flaw. The cruel part is how personal it feels. You watch other people navigate success without imploding, and it confirms what you already suspected. They have something you don't. They're built differently, but the research tells a different story. Dr. Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory maps this out in detail. Your autonomic nervous system has 3 gears: safe and social, fight or flight, and shutdown. Most people cycling through self-sabotage aren't stuck in fight or flight during the sabotage itself. They're there beforehand in the moment of unfamiliar success. Your heart rate climbs, your chest tightens. The promotion, the healthy relationship, the clean streak of good days, it all triggers alarm bells. The sabotage is the escape hatch. It returns you to a state your body recognizes. You're not defective, you're regulated for the wrong environment. A nervous system calibrated to threat will manufacture threat when the environment gets too safe. Not because you want to suffer, because your biology doesn't trust the safety. It's waiting for the other shoe to drop, so it drops the shoe itself. Here's where the story shifts. The person I mentioned earlier, the one who detonated every good thing, finally stopped asking what's wrong with me and started asking a different question. What is this protecting me from? And the answer wasn't pretty. Success meant visibility. Visibility meant scrutiny. Scrutiny meant the possibility of being exposed as the fraud they believed they were deep down. Self-sabotage wasn't the problem, it was the solution, a very effective one. You can't fail publicly if you fail privately first. You can't be rejected if you reject yourself preemptively. The anxiety wasn't irrational, it was hyper-rational. It was solving for a threat that felt more real than the opportunity in front of them. Once they saw it as a system with a function, the shame started to dissolve. Not the pattern, not yet, but the layer of self-hatred that made the pattern impossible to examine. That was the shift. From I'm broken to I'm running outdated software. This reframe isn't just philosophical comfort, it's mechanically accurate. Neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett's research on constructed emotion shows that your brain doesn't react to reality, it reacts to its prediction of reality based on past data. If your past data says good things end badly, your brain will construct threat responses even in objectively safe situations. It's not perceiving danger, it's predicting it. And then creating the physiological state, racing heart, shallow breath, cortisol spike flooding your bloodstream within milliseconds, that matches the prediction. You feel the danger before anything dangerous happens. The sensation arrives first, fully formed, visceral. And because you feel it so intensely in your chest and throat, you believe it. So you act accordingly. You withdraw from the relationship, you tank the interview, you pick the fight. You create the ending your brain already wrote. This mechanism is called predictive coding, and it means your self-sabotage isn't evidence of your brokenness. So what do you do with this? You start treating your nervous system like what it is, a highly sensitive instrument calibrated to the wrong baseline. You don't shame it into compliance. You don't override it with willpower. You update the data set slowly, repeatedly. You give your system evidence that safety isn't a trap, that success doesn't precede disaster, that visibility doesn't equal annihilation. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about exposing your prediction model to new information until the predictions change. You let good things happen in small doses. You stay present when the urge to sabotage kicks in, not to stop it, but to observe it, to see it as the system doing its job, not you failing at yours. Over time, your brain recalibrates, not because you fixed what was broken, but because you gave it a new environment to adapt to. And adaptation is what it's built for. That's the system working too. Just finally in your favor. You're not broken, you're not defective, you're not uniquely cursed with some fatal flaw everyone else avoided. You're a modern human running ancient code in a world that changed faster than evolution could keep up. Your self-sabotage is a feature that became a bug only because the environment shifted. The system works. It's just working on the wrong problem. And once you see that, once you stop fighting yourself and start updating the conditions your nervous system is responding to, the pattern doesn't need to be destroyed. It needs to be debugged. One data point at a time. One moment of staying present when every instinct screams to run. That's not healing, that's recalibration, and your brain is very, very good at it. But there's one more uncomfortable truth I haven't told you yet. In tomorrow's video, we'll explore why the people closest to you might be the ones most invested in keeping you stuck. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If this video resonated with you, hit subscribe. Uncomfortable Truths drops a new uncomfortable truth tomorrow and every day after on personal finance, relationships, mindset, and productivity, and more. Turn on notifications so you're first to see it. The truth is uncomfortable, but it's always worth it.